Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike coming at you with the weekly news and review for December 22nd, 2024, just a few days prior to Christmas. Oddly enough, a lot more news this week than expected. Of course, there's always going to be some fun Transformers news. We've got pictures of the next wave of Super 7 Ultimates, Silverhawks, the Copper Kid, and I guess they call it a sled. And then we've got some Lord of the Rings stuff going on this week. Pre-order should be coming up for those pretty soon. Then we have some G.I. Joe classified leaked pictures. I guess you could say better pictures than last time. Then we have an update from NECA on their Tmnt cartoon version figures and a pretty hefty checklist. And there is some Star Wars stuff. Not a whole lot, but we'll get into this and more coming up. Starting out with what's new at Shozi Store, Mastermind Creations Z-Def is on sale for $190. This is their take on a Deathsaurus. There's also a sale on this Heat Boys Tmnt Leonardo, originally $180. This is now $138, and it's kind of like a giant turtle mech is how it looks to me. It looks pretty cool, though. We got the answer to the price on the KO Missing Link Optimus Prime. It is $65 at Shozi Store. Some thought it'd be more. I actually thought it'd be $75, so not a bad price for the KO Prime. And we have the lucky draw. I think it's a lucky draw. It's the Louis New Age Blaster Red Transparent version. $200. That's a bit pricey. I won't be picking that one up, but anybody that wants it can get one for $200. And if you like clear, but you don't want $200, you can get clear with kind of the correct colors. Probably around $60, I guess. $1 down, pre-order. Not sure on the price yet. All right, starting out with some Masterpiece stuff here. We've got the Paragon for X-Transbots Defensor. And the thing is that people have been asking me, when is this going to get released? Well, once they've got the packaging like this, it's not very long till they get it out. So that's pretty awesome, pretty cool. It's been a bit since we've gotten a component for X-Transbots Defensor, and that's the one I'm in on for combined mode. So I'm pretty excited for it. And it's coming out with a different coloration. I'm guessing, is it a G2? Maybe? Is that what a G2 coloration would be? I'm not sure, but cool looking stuff that X-Transbots got coming on the way. We got pictures of 01 Studio and their trimmer. This is their Devastator, stylized Devastator, and it looks pretty good. I mean, if you're into this stuff, there's like 5 Devastators going at once right now, so that is what it is. Here is the torso, which I think looks pretty cool. It's definitely a Devi in there. There's a whole lot of line work. I guess you could call it line work. So it's kind of busy. There's a lot going on with it. But this is, a lot of people like that kind of stuff too. So the extra added detail. Here's the alt mode, which doesn't look exactly like G1. And that's not what they're going for. So if you're interested in this one, it's the 01 Studio trimmer. We got a color mock-up of the MB25 first color test shot, and they went to say there's going to be even more paint apps in addition to this when they're done with it, but that looks pretty cool. Aircraft mode, and I always look at this, I always think it looks like a B-Wing, but still pretty cool, pretty interesting that Fans Hobby's working on this. I know we saw this last week, and I think there's a few other Yellow Park things, but I'm going to slide it in here anyway. This is their Mirage, and it's part of their MK Pro Series. Does have some die casts. It is the model. You do build it. But I think this is an even better picture than what we got last week. And looking at this, it does look pretty good. If you're in on these live-action movie-ish characters, then you might be interested in this one. So I guess I jumped the gun getting into the AMK stuff. Still have more Masterpiece to talk about. But I do want to point this out. This thing is the clear, transparent version, up for order right now at Yellow Park shop. And if you want to get one, they say that it's it's open for orders now through the 30th, but it also says while supplies last. So if it sells out tomorrow, then you're not going to be able to order it on the 30th. So if you really want this, jump over and get it. They charged me like $26 shipping. I don't know if that's right. I don't know if I did something wrong, but I'm curious what other people are paying for shipping that's ordered from the site, and it'd be interesting to find out. But anyhow, I wasn't going to miss out on the clear one anyway, no matter the cost. And Lewin Resources, just lots of pictures and updates as they're producing this thing. But this is a fully assembled production unit, I believe, of their duck head. It's more or less the Metroplex, but it is more of a stylized. People are saying IDW for the most part. But it does look pretty cool. It is ginormous. I believe it's 4 foot tall, something around that range. And shipping in 3 different boxes. And still, the exact price isn't really up yet. So, curious. I'm guessing they're shipping all of this stuff out to distributors, and distributors are going to ship it to the customers. And at that point, when distributors get it, that's when we get the full price. All right, so Big Firebird is launching the Big Firebird build line, which is a bit on the stylized side of things also. And when it says build, I'm guessing you have to put this together yourself. And it doesn't look like it transforms. Not a whole lot of information just yet. And really all we have is a few pictures. Some of the pictures are literally just renders. But it's kind of interesting the direction that they're going. And let's take a look at one of these renders they've got here. And I do believe all this stuff's going to look so much better when they actually have color on it, which I think is why they wanted to throw these renders in the middle of actually having prototypes to show, because we see this color render here, then we transition over to what that looks like in real life in the prototype form, and then we're going to see that there's the prototype form. So pretty cool looking stuff, pretty interesting. Be also interesting to get more information about it. And then, you know, imagine if you could start building some fembots. Oh yeah, there you go. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. The whole figure looks pretty cool overall. There's a little bit of cloth in the front there, 2 pieces of cloth covering stuff, and yeah, interesting concept from Big Firebird. All right, King's Toys is making their next Dino bot, and this is going to be the CT Longyin, the Break Horn, and it's Slag. Hey, it looks pretty cool. It's pretty interesting what they've got going on with them right there. I think most people are excited about the actual Dino mode. Yeah, the Dino mode is kind of what you'd expect for a Slag, so it looks pretty cool. It is very stylized, as they've done with their Predacons in the past, and they've been doing it with all these so far, and it does look pretty cool, pretty interesting. This one is Break Horn, their Slag. We've got 3-0 introducing the 2007 deluxe figures. These deluxe figures are the bigger, larger, like an 11-inch, something along those lines, figures, non-transformable movie figures. This one is Bumblebee, and of course it's going to have a decked out paint job and a decked out price tag, but it's kind of cool. They're revisiting the 2007 era, as I think people are Rise of the Beasted out a little bit. And yeah, that's kind of cool if you're into the live action movie in 2007 brought a lot of people into the collecting realm, and so a lot of people have now nostalgia for this. And there's the Ironhide, and that was one of the ones. I actually still have one in the box from the original release from Hasbro, which I thought was pretty cool looking. One of the cooler figures from that era. And then this is Jazz, and he looks a lot like you'd expect for the Jazz. They do a whole lot of detail with these figures. They look fantastic when they're done. I'm looking forward to seeing the painted ones. We'll probably see that next week. All right, so Iron Factory is putting out pictures, which I guess is the box art, and a lot of boxes of the IFEX6D7 Scythe of the Bifrons. If that doesn't really mean much of anything to me, but there it is. So they're still putting out some figures, and here's another one on the way. As we saw the clear version of Louis earlier, and then the other clear version, this is the EX, or toy version of their blaster. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm glad I went with the Toon version. I usually like to go with the EX versions. I like the toy versions, but in this case, it still looks cool. I think the first one they put out was phenomenal. They did a great job. And looking at their sound wave in this picture, that looks pretty cool too. All right, so these are the Aldi figures. They're kind of Legends scale, non-transformable figures, and they look really good. But I'm going to show just this picture because I think it's important to see what's going on inside this box. This is the only one that's set up as a 2-pack for now, and you get Cliff Jumper and you get Kickback. But also in the middle there, you're getting a laser beak. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting stuff. And as soon as I can find out where I can order these, I'll let you know. But I'm interested in getting some of these, not the whole line though. Okay, so here's a blurry picture. It's a teaser from Chosen Prime and Fans Hobby exclusive holiday figure. Who is it? Who's this blurry? I don't think it's too blurry, but anyhow, I'm not really sure any more information about this. A lot of speculation out there, but it'll eventually be unfolded who this really is, or revealed. There's updates to the Blockies or Blokies. These, another line of non-transformable Transformers, and this is the packaging update. But again, I want to point out that all of the designs with the Transformers 1 are more proportionally correct than the past set of figures they made. I wonder if this is a running change going forward, or if they're just doing it for the Transformers 1 figures. But aesthetically, I like what they're doing with Transformers 1 figures more, and it's quite interesting. Good looking figures. Now there's an Optimus Prime called King of Autobot, and it is a 20 via 23 CMG on Weibo. So no information about size, scale, availability, or anything. But this looks like a very low price, low budget figure that should be very cheap if you're interested. And also maybe something, definitely something fun for the kiddos, right? Easy transformation and all that. But it's King of Autobot. All right, so there's a new line that's already been reported on, but now there's updates on listings found at Walmart for Swapticons. And this is a new gimmick where theoretically you get to swap parts out. Arms, legs, hands, feet. I guess. This is a $7.97 price point. Obviously, they're probably not going to transform, and they're going to be kind of kiddie-ish. No actual pictures of this stuff yet, but there's the assortment. There's Megatron, Shockwave. There's the Optimus, Ultra Magnus. There's the BB, I guess Bumblebee Hot Rod. The Grimlock Snarl. The Shadow Panther Ravage. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Do you swap parts, or do they already have a mixture of parts going into it with no pictures of this stuff yet? Quite interesting to see what it'll be. Obviously, this is another thing targeting kids. Remember, toys are for kids. Now, this is, I believe, called the Action Battler Blind Box Figures. This is their Wave 1 from Tanmi Space, and it's only in for Chinese release right now. And they will probably get released outside of China eventually, but these are tiny little figures that are kind of just like the Blokies and all those other ones, but it's yet another one. But blind box, I am not a fan of blind box. I want to know exactly what I'm buying. I don't want it to be a surprise when I open it. Usually there's some way to break a code on a blind box anyway, but yeah, this is something else that's out there. They're going to have a Shockwave, Nemesis Prime, Golden Optimus Prime, Chase figure, Starscream, Bumblebee, Megatron, and a standard Optimus in Wave 1. So we got some sort of leaked package art of the Studio Series Commander Class Long Haul and Rook reveal. So I got, maybe this is an official reveal then, not just a leak. But you can see the packaging art, you can see both modes, you can see what it's going to be. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good figure overall. They also showed off kind of where they're at with the model. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good Devi overall. And it's going to fit in. So a lot of people didn't like the fact that the one that they put out before in the Combiner Wars was 18 inches versus the rest of them being about 12 or 13 inches. And so this will line up with all the rest of Combiner Wars and line up with what they've got going on now going forward. But yeah, I think it does look pretty good. And they've been doing a lot of good work on these combiners lately. Well, it looks like we got pictures from Notrab, Weibo user for the Mandalorian N1 Starfighter in-hand images with a Star Wars crossover with Transformers. Now, I remember back in the day, they did these in the mid-aughts, and I never really was excited for them back then. I'm not super excited for them right now either, but this does look pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. It's a little bit different than what they were doing back in the day. I think that they've done a little bit better job on them. I think they look a little better than the ones they were making back in the day, with Luke turning into his X-Wing, and some of those other ones didn't really work out all that well. But this looks pretty good. I mean, it looks decent in both modes, which I think is very important for these Transformers. So they're getting better than they were back in the day. So it looks like we're getting an updated picture from Trumpeter, the Wheeljack Smart Kit model kit. Now this is a serious model kit. This isn't like YOLO Park where you just plug some giant pieces together, maybe 12 pieces together, and you've got your figure. This is where you're having to put 12 pieces together just to make the forearm. And it's a true and blue model kit. But I knew there was something coming because last week they were showing off kind of a collection of what's been done in the past. And now I guess they're going to finish up the rest of the ones that are still on pre-order. And let's take a look at kind of the lineup so far. If you've been in on the Trumpeters since the beginning, then I guess you can have a collection looking like this when you get your Wheeljack. Pretty cool looking stuff. I'm not exactly into the model kits because of the time it takes, but still it's pretty cool, pretty interesting, and some people have a lot of fun doing it. So this is kind of just a compilation of showing some renders for Transformers Eternal Wars game. Okay, so they're not exactly G1, but they're G1-esque and a bit stylized. Obviously, they're wanting to appeal to a broad audience, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I haven't played the game yet. I probably won't play the game, but it's still interesting to keep up with what they're doing, what's going on, and what these things ultimately are going to look like. TFCon Los Angeles, March 7th through the 9th. That's like 2.5 months away. And like I always say, I look forward to the third-party panels. I'm curious to see what gets announced at these things. But the special guest, Michael Bell, is the voice of Sideswipe, Prowl, Bombshell, and Swoop. So, of course, we Swoop, no see nothing. All right, so we're going to talk about some stuff that's not Transformers. And we're going to start with a couple of kind of small stories, but they're big impact, I guess. But this is the Copper Kid for the Silverhawks. And I do want to point out, not vac metalized, not super shiny, but does look a little shinier than some of the other ones that were non-vac metalized. We're going to get Copper Kid to finish out the line, and it's always fun to see what it looks like for real and not the render. And this is the first time that I got to see one for real. Now they're plastered all over eBay's, so it's pretty easy to see it now because it seems like once they start showing up. But I do want to give good old Super 7 props in a way. It's good for them that they're getting their product out that was ordered directly from them before all the other retailers. Because that was a big problem with people plopping down their full price and waiting and getting theirs 3 months after BBTS, Entertainment Earth, and all that. So it's kind of good that Super 7 they made the promise that you'll get yours first if you order through them. And it's true. So here is the Space Racer. I mean, I always kind of thought it was their sled. So Space Racer. And it looks pretty cool. It's one of those things that this might be a very short run item. But I always know that there's a minimal order quantity on these. Will this be one that shows up at clearance down the road? Probably not, though. It's probably one that they did the absolute minimum order quantity and no more. And with that, it's cool looking. But the thing about it is it's never been made before. And let's just be honest. Probably will never get made again by any other company. And then this is the extra pack, the super pack you get if you order straight from Super 7. And that's what you get. Some extra stuff. Nothing really all that impressive, but I gotta tell you, people are gonna be asking a lot of extra money for this. That's why they pre-ordered it to get this and charge like 40 or 50 bucks just for this little pack. I'm not that concerned about it. In fact, I don't use all the accessories that are packed in, so I'm good. But some people got to be completists. G.I. Joe Classified. And here's the thing. This is the firefighter that's sort of just the generic firefighter. And it's going to be kind of the $35 price point, I believe. And it's going to be one of those that's part of that commemorative series kind of deal. And it's okay. It's cool. I'm not in on it. I don't have any of those yet. I don't plan on getting any of those. But some people are going to love it. And it's more of a real world firefighter and not like barbecue or anything like that. Here's another leaked. Oh, these are leaked images. They're probably not official. This JCon 7 that's put these out. So, like, thanks for putting those out. That's awesome. This is the Frag Viper, and the Frag Viper looks more interesting than the original 3.75-inch vintage one, but still actually pays quite a bit of homage. So much similarity between the two, but yet that whole kind of blue overlay of vest and holsters and stuff adds a little bit more interesting stuff to it. Having some silver in that, in the frag launcher, some stuff like that. The paint looking like those frags are actually lighting up. That's pretty cool too. So there's a lot of good to this, and to tell you the truth, if it's not something I had as a kid, I can handle the extra stylization to it. In fact, this guy is a big improvement from the vintage one. All right, our next story here, NECA, 12 days of downloads, Tmnt animated series figures, and they've got some cool stuff. This, what they're saying here, doesn't match pictures exactly, but okay, there's going to be some stuff coming in 2025, like Ninja Splinter, the business suit Casey, PandaCon tattoo worm, Shibano, Sama, and Creepy Eddie. So, I mean, some of this stuff is already in this picture right here, so we can move to the next one. This is a checklist that I think is all-encompassing, that shows everything they've made so far, and what a major giant line of figures that they've already put out. Impressive, and yeah, it's impressive to say the least. But and then all the different iterations of the 4 turtles that they put out so far, so that's kind of cool that they've kept all this on track. I am far from complete on this. I will not be a completist on this, but I have at least 60% of it, and I like it. I think NECA's Toon Turtles are the best in the biz. Even though I have Super 7 and I have the best AXN, still like NECA the most. Here's the Panda, which I don't know why that one was by itself. Should have been just lumped in with some other ones, I guess. And then I like this picture. I really feel like that Ultimate Shredder looks a little different than the one I already have. And the one I have is in a 2-pack sealed. I want to get a single individual one so I could have that one for display. So I will be picking up the Shredder. Even though I'm turtled out, I probably won't buy the rest of this stuff, or any of the rest of this stuff. Although it looks amazing. It's really hard to say no when you see it at the store. Hard to say no when you see it at the store. And here's the last two, which I thought we already got the business suit Casey Jones. I mean, in fact, I know I've seen it on the shelf, and I didn't want to spend 60 bucks. So I'm not sure if it's going to be packed separately. Like, is this going to be a 2-pack? A different 2-pack? Anyway, this is Splinter... Ninja Splinter and business suit Casey Jones. All right, looks like we've got Lord of the Rings Deluxe 7-inch Series 9 figures from Diamond Select Toys. These are only 25 bucks a figure, and we're getting Bilbo Baggins and Elf Warrior Tariel. Did I say Tariel right? Anyhow, if you're interested in this, they're only like 25 bucks each, so it's not really that bad of a price, and the figures do look really good overall. Diamond Select Toys, available at BBTS Entertainment Earth if you're interested. Also looks like Boss Fight Studios Epic Hacks Red Sonja 112 scale figure updated samples, and they are, I guess the one on the left is 50, the one on the right is 60. So these are a bit pricey from Boss Fight Studios, and these are the only pictures that we have so far of them. And Looks pretty good. One of them is kind of black and red figure, and black, white, and red. So not exactly sure why they go that color scheme on it, but they're, I guess, to see the rest of the angles of this, you're gonna have to buy it, like if you want to see it from behind. All right, so there is the Naughty or Nice collection Krampus red version figure, Fresh Monkey Fiction, MCU collector. Take a look at this. So, pretty interesting. This is part of the Naughty or Nice collection, and it's available at BBTS. I know these are on the more expensive range. I also know this is, I believe, I was thinking Four Horsemen was involved in this, but anyhow, it is $37.99, so that's not a bad price for this. I'm not a huge fan of the Krampus character myself. I won't be getting this, but it does look a little wicked, doesn't it? Here's all the stuff that comes with, and yep, that's the stuff it comes with, and it's included with a crazy tongue. Yep, crazy tongue included. All right, finally we're getting into Star Wars. For some reason, I feel like I'm missing something. One of the points I wanted to talk about, I'm missing it, but I'm not seeing it right now. So this is Star Wars, and there's 2 more 2-packs that are coming up. And so one of them is the Black Series Phase 1 Clone Trooper and the Super Battle Droid. I do want to say the Super Battle Droid is a cool looking battle droid, but that set is $40, and then there is the journey of Anakin Skywalker. So the journey of Anakin Skywalker going from good to evil to become Darth Vader, and this is the Vintage Collection. That's a $50 set for the 3 figures. And we'll be talking about price here in a little bit of the Star Wars stuff. But let's get on to a couple more topics, and then we can get into the fun. I just clipped this whole story from, this is Jedi Temple Archives. And the Vintage Collection Pulse exclusive. So this was on Pulse as a Pulse exclusive. There was a time where if it was a Pulse exclusive, it sold out. You couldn't get it again. And that's that. It was popular, a popular brand, popular stuff, popular vehicles, popular figures. Now they can't get rid of it, so Amazon's taking it on. And that's just what's going on right here. They couldn't move their own products on Pulse, so Amazon's having to take it. And it's not a cheaper price yet. Probably eventually will. But it's interesting just kind of how these things play out over time. But I've got some of my own pictures I'm going to show. First of all, in my journeys around with Ross and Ollie's and all that kind of stuff, seeing some really good deals on Star Wars stuff. The Holocron collection. Now, I was at one Ross, but the line was so long, and I don't know why I didn't take a picture there, but it was so long. I would have gotten one of each of the clear Holocron ones. They had like 4 different ones. They had a Han. They had, of course, Ahsoka and some other ones. But I ended up picking just Ahsoka up at a different one that had almost no line, so I lucked out there. But it's not worth it, even at $10 each, to wait 40 minutes in line. And then we've got Morgan Elsbeth. There were a few others too, but I passed on all of them. $7 is still too much for me on these. I don't care enough. I'd get them at $4, or I'll just pass. It's not a big deal to me because the characters, they don't really mean anything to me. I'd buy them to have them at $4, which still kind of sounds crazy, right? I don't even care about them, but I'd pay $4 for them just because Star Wars is really where it all started for me. Now we're getting into some of this stuff here. This is the Skeleton Crew. Now, there's a whole other story, and instead of just showing that graphic, I can show this graphic, but Skeleton Crew is now officially the least watched of the Star Wars TV shows. Now I keep promising a long video about all that, but one thing is you can't factor out the fact that with Disney Plus losing subscribers left and right, that's less people on the platform to give it watch hours. Now it's still in the top of Disney Plus, but it's at the bottom of is it the Nielsen or one of these ratings systems? It's still not in the top 10 of all streaming that's going on right now. So it is the worst performer of the shows that they've done in the Disney era. And it's probably the next show they do is going to be even worse and worse and worse as they keep losing people on their platform. Now, as for all the stuff here, since I have no tie to it, I'm not buying it. I'm certainly not paying $25 a figure or $33 a figure or whatever. This is all the ghost of Ollie's and Ross' future right here. This is all going to show up Ross and Ollie's in the future. And it's still, I'm not even going to get it all because I'm at the Ross and the Ollie's and I'm not buying it all. So this is what's at the Ross and the Ollie's. And it's nice that they took the time to line them all up so you can see how many of each figure and character is there. That was nice of them. But, I mean, I'm not even excited to buy any of this stuff. And I have to say, I bought a couple of these. Well, I know I bought the Leia at full price. That's the only one, I guess. But it does kind of hurt when you're like, oh, I could be getting this for $7.50 right now. They have 25% off at the Ollie's. But these things, I mean, there's oceans of them. And there's other stores that have even more. And then there's this just a side view. But yeah, all that stuff that's in the store right now, this is going to be getting pushed to Ross and Ollie's next year. And the timeline used to be 2 years from the time it was at the store till it hit Ross and Ollie's. Now it's dwindled down to like 7 to 9 months. So, I mean, by the end of this time next year, a lot of that stuff on the shelf right now that's just dying on the pegs will probably be at these discounters. So what do you guys think about this week's weekly news and review? What else is out there that I missed? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Titanium Hanger out.